Hello, Internet. I am coming off of a adrenaline-induced 300 blood sugar, so I am sipping some Coke Zero. So today I want to talk about Type 1 technology and go over kind of what I have, what I've used in the past, and other options that are out there. So first off, I wear the Omnipod insulin management system. It's a pump. It's a tubeless pump. It comes with, so on a traditional pump, you have the computer with the reservoir in it and a tube connecting the reservoir and the pump to the site on you. With the Omnipod, the pods have a reservoir in them that holds up to 200 units of insulin, and the pod can last up to 3 days. Mine generally lasts 2.5. I'm trying to make it last a little longer. In my 2 years of wearing it, I think I've only had 1 or 2 pods actually expire on me when the 3 days are up. But anyway, so this is the PDM, stands for Personal Diabetes Manager. It is the computer part of the PDM. Now, the reason I put quotations around computer is because there's actually a computer chip in the pod that connects it wirelessly to the PDM. Also, just a quick tip, do not burn the pods. If you don't have a trash service, do not burn the pods. They explode. I learned that the hard way. Omnipod, Insulet, the company that makes Omnipod, actually offers a recycling program. They'll send you a bag. You put the used pods in a bag, with a return label. You send it to the company, and they recycle them. I utilize that a lot. I do not throw my pods away. So back to the PDM. Why do I use the Omnipod? Why do I like it? Well, in the past, I have used syringes and pens, and I used the Animas 2000, and I used the Animas One Touch Ping, and I used the 2 Animas pumps between ages 7 and 11. I got off the pump in 2009 when I was 11 years old because I was playing softball in the Arkansas Heat, and every time I moved around, my sight was popping out. So we were just like, we went through, I kid you not, 5 sight changes in like 2 innings of softball. So we just quit the pump and we didn't go back. Until 2 years ago, I was in a place where I really needed some tech support. Pun. The reason I went with Omnipod is because it's tubeless. I personally, not everybody feels this way, I personally feel tethered, like I'm on a leash, when I have a tube pump. So when I heard there was a tubeless option, I was like, sign me up. So some other things that I like about the Omnipod that most people will not talk about. So here's the status screen. It's hard to get a picture of it where it's not reflecting anything. It shows my last blood sugar, which can either, you can check it on the PDM like a glucometer, or you can input the number. It shows the time of the last blood sugar, the last bolus amount and time, the IOB, which is really important because it uses that for calculations, what basal rate is running, and the expiration date of the pod. It also shows battery power, how much insulin is in. Okay, so it shows how much insulin is in it, but it will just say 50 plus units, and once it gets below 50, it will give you a specific number. I wish they would show the specific number, because I see 50 plus, and I'll go out, and I'll drop below 50 units, and if I'm going for a sleepover, you know, I need to know how much insulin to take with me to change. Anyway, so other things I like about the Omnipod. So this is the menu screen. Okay, and if you go down to more actions, okay, this is what it shows. And if you see the last option, it is food library. The food library is fantastic. It has a bunch of pre-recorded foods with the nutrition information. So if you find yourself eating something that you don't know the carbs for, you don't have internet access, and it doesn't have a nutrition label, you can get it off the PDM, most likely. I actually found myself in a situation where I had some like organic apple juice with no nutrition label on it, and so I used the carbs from the food library, and it actually worked. So that's one thing I really like about the Omnipod is the food library. I also really like carb presets. So if you go under settings, the second option is presets, and in there you can put in your favorite foods, do carb presets, and bolus presets. I have not used the bolus presets yet, but if you put in a carb preset, you put in the food, and you put in how many carbs it is, and when you go to bolus, you can select that food and it will automatically input that amount of carbs. So those are the two things that I really like about the Omnipod, are the presets and the food library. I also really like that it's tubeless. I used to use the Precision Extra glucometer. I used it for years, okay? But I'm not regularly using a glucometer right now because I just got the Freestyle Libre in the past few months. I've been wearing it for 4 months now. This is the reader for the Libre. This is the sensor for the Libre. I have tape on it right now. The Libre is actually an FGM, not a CGM. An FGM stands for Flash Glucose Monitoring System. CGM is Continuous Glucose Monitoring System. So with this, I press the button, turn it on, and it times out. It tells me to scan my sensor. And so I will go ahead and do that. Scan current data. Okay, and it also shows a graph. I don't know if you can see it very well. It only keeps the graph for the past 8 hours though. Some of the differences between the FGM and the CGM options, which I think the Libre is the only FGM out there right now, but the Libre does not have alarms. If you go out of range, it will not alarm you like the CGM's will. You have to scan it to get the most current data. I love it. I was pricking my finger 6 to 13 times a day, and now I scan my sensor an average of 20 times a day. Both items I use have a, this one you can't see with the case on, but both the Omnipod and the Libre have ports with cords so I can download the information from them and send it to my endocrinologist. Other options that are out there. Not all pumps are created equal. There's Medtronic, there is T-Slim, Animas is going out of business. Johnson & Johnson stopped making pumps. They are still providing the sites and other assistance for the next, I want to say 2 to 3 years, but they are not manufacturing anymore. But Medtronic, MiniMed, T-Slim, I'm not really familiar with all of them. So if I'm missing some, put them in the comments, okay? A newer type of technology that I know a lot of people have, a lot of people love, I do not use it, is the Dexcom CGM. So I actually do not know a lot about the CGM except that it is a continuous glucose monitoring system. It runs on Bluetooth, so it is wireless. It has the receiver and the, I don't know what you call it. I would call it a sensor. You've got the receiver that gets the numbers. You got the sensor that is on you. It can also be run on an app on your phone, so your other family members can be aware of your blood sugars. It alarms you when you go out of range. I've heard of some systems where whether it's on the actual pump or it's like matched with the Dexcom, it will automatically suspend your insulin or change your basal based on your blood sugar. That's awesome. Another very important assistive tool I would like to talk about that not a lot of people have. They're very expensive. They are not covered by insurance. I'm sure you guessed it. Medical alert dogs. I am actually in the process of getting a medical alert dog for specifically my blood sugar levels. So if you've never heard of a medical alert dog, it is a service dog trained to detect and alert to the physiological changes in a person's body when a certain thing occurs. Well, for diabetes, that would be a change in blood sugar. So the dogs are trained to smell the change in blood sugar and alert their handler when it goes too high or too low. So you say, why would you need a medical alert dog for that? We have all this great technology. Well, if you didn't know, glucometers measure parts per million. Dogs can smell parts per trillion. The dog can catch it before the symptoms even start. These dogs can do everything from detect your blood sugars to alerting you to them, to retrieving your kit or low treatment for you if you're too weak, to getting help if you pass out. Like, they are life-changing and life-saving, okay? But like I said, they are very expensive. The process is long. It took me 5 months just to do the paperwork. But I will make another video more about the process of getting a service dog and the legal definition and the differences and what you need to watch out for and all that. Very, very long process. It's not something you decide in a day. It's not something that happens overnight. Okay, so if you have any other topics you would like to go over on a video, or if you have any questions, please comment, like, share, subscribe. Before I sign off, I would like to say while editing, I notice I make a really annoying sound in my sentence transitions, and that may be because I actually do have stage fright, and although this is pre-recorded and edited, it still affects me. And there are other people with stage fright too, but I just want to let you know that the more I do this, the more comfortable I'll become with it, and I will try not to make that annoying sound, because it's actually one of my own pet peeves, and I didn't know I did it until I was editing videos. So, sorry about that. I'll get better. Channel art is coming. A video intro hopefully is coming, so I'll have a little bit more of a character to my channel. Before then, stay awesome.